quickly check on. I'll check the stream now.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the FSR World Series race. I am Matt Hartley, Liam Jenkins should be with us momentarily. We are at the Circuit du Monza and we are in Italy here today for this race, and we'll be looking to see whether anybody can catch championship leader Jack Keithley. Just started Q1 here, you've not missed any fun except the usual pit lane drama. Everybody wanting to be on track first. Jack Keithley looks like he is on track first. Everybody coming around the last corner here to start their lap in Q1. Just remind the viewers that it is the top 10 that make it through this session. And I believe that Liam Jenkins has joined us now. Liam, we are at Monza. What do you think of Monza? Well, apart from the fact that it's extremely low downforce, what else do you think about Monza? Apologies, we'll try and get Liam with us in a moment. Having technical difficulties there. Looks like Pushka is on a good laps coming around here. All these guys running quite close together, surprisingly, in Q1. I'm not quite sure about that. Obviously, you tend to lose a lot of aero grip, but around this track, it might actually be a good idea. They might be proving me wrong because you get the slipstream down each one of these long straights. On board with Pushka coming down the straight, heading into the Ascari chicane. Probably the best part of the track, in my opinion. And most drivers, I think, takes plenty of curb on the left, misses the second one, hits the third and the fourth. I believe that's usually how people do it, but heading into the Parabolica as time start coming in a couple seconds. Parabolica, you can take any line through there. And Liam has joined us just as Martin Gosby goes to P1. Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon everybody to what should be a crucial round in the championship. I'm sure if my internet does go during the race, we will leave you in the capable hands of Matt Hartley. But taking a look at qualifying at the moment, it was very interesting what you said about a lot of guys just seem to be grouping together. I mean, this track really can. I mean, we've said this in the past couple of rounds, but again, Monza's renowned for shaking up some great races, and this track has been known to try and shake up the order a bit, as Pushka once again gets original pole position on a 1:23.2. Martin Gosby is just behind by 0.02 of a second, so it's very close out there at the moment. And of course, again, a very strengthy field. You're looking at around 24 drivers this afternoon, so it's definitely going to be a very, not chaotic field race, but it's going to be very kind of busy out there, I should imagine.
Hopefully, if everybody makes it past the first corner anyway. It's a nightmare of a first turn here. You have a long straight to get up to speed, and then you have about 20 cars all piling into what can only be described as the tightest chicane on the calendar, with curbs, and it's just going to be, hopefully everybody makes it round, because if so, it's going to be a great race, because it's very difficult to pull away, like you said, with the slipstreams, and it's going to be interesting to see whether there's a train of guys. This part of the track, I'm just watching Reino Room, it's coming out of the second Lesmo here. Those Lesmos are really difficult because they are downforce corners, as well as this Ascari chicane, but you can't run downforce around here because there's so many straights.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, that's a very good point as well, is that this track is filled with straights, and you want as little downforce as possible, so you can get up to speed as quickly as you can and hit the rev limiter and just gain as much momentum as you can when you head into, you know, the sweeping right-handers corners like the Parabolica. But you can't just, you know, lower the downforce completely, because those sneaky chicanes like the first one, we're going to see Ivar Kalamis come up to now as he begins to cross the line to start his lap, I beg your pardon. And just like this, we're going to see a prime example now, but you need downforce. You're going to see today a lot of guys being heavy on their tyres into turn one, a lot of potential lockups, and I fear tyre wear could be a very big factor this afternoon, just due to the nature of the circuit and how aggressive these guys are going to have to try and drive it to get a good result. Yeah,
brakes too. Brakes take a beating because, like you say, if you don't have the wing to help you slow down the car, it's all on the brakes. Oh, Calami's got way out of there, yeah.
And it actually helped us commentators. Look at Simičić as well. He spoke very highly of him, of course, in Valencia. Did a sterling job. He currently sits in P3 at the moment, so not doing too shabby here either. Is the other Go Speed driver, of course, partnering Philip Pushka, who's currently in pole position. Also, very interesting fact as well, Rob van Starkenberg, you know, one man we're used to seeing within the top 10, dueling away, getting right in the thick of the action, could probably have his work cut out for him today. He's got a back of the grid penalty for sending the wrong laps, I believe, in terms of the lap files after the race, and he will start from way down the order. And this is going to shake up racing, but of course, if you are aware of what happened in the World Championship last time out, Stoffel van Dorn started from the rear end of the field and managed to get a sterling job way up there in the top 5. So anything's possible here in FSR, and with a driver of Rob's calibre, I would sure expect him to see up fighting in the top 10, providing he gets a clean start.
Not everything is possible. Me giving driver of the day to somebody who finishes in 5th, that is not possible. But hopefully we will see somebody coming through today. Keithley was hanging around outside the drop zone for quite a while. He eventually moved up to P5 with a 23.4, but that's still a good 2.5 tenths off the fastest time of Pushka right now. And Peter Dulvar, also P13, the Precision Motorsports team, they're scratching a few heads maybe. Interesting to see whether they all make it through. Hoffman P4, 23.3. So there's a couple of guys up there having good runs right now. Hoffman definitely a good run in P4.
Yeah, absolutely. You need good run as well, especially when you head into qualifying 2. As long as you can get into Q2, it doesn't matter if you do too badly there, because you should be able to get a good start. And at Monza as well, getting into that first corner, the last thing you want to do is be swamped at the start with cars flying in every single direction. You need to try and keep the car on the track, so that's the main point. But if you can start on that front row, you're going to have the cleanest run into turn 1 as you can possibly get here at Monza. And in terms of a clean getaway, I think this is going to be the most vital part of the opening couple of laps, because I think, well, it's not inevitable, but we are going to see a couple of fireworks, I should imagine.
I would assume so. Just looking at the times too, that we're already starting to see some fireworks, because P5 to P13 there's only 3/10, and I mean, you look at any of the guys up to P13, they can all make it through. Alban Desley 23.7, Reino Room 23.7, and then only a 23.6, mid-6 right now is the cutoff. So I mean, Maurice Bracken is definitely on the bubble there. He's going to have to hope he can do another time, because that's not going to be safe. He is just leaving pit lane now. Will he will get round just in time to do a lap. He's obviously figured out that he's not quite safe there with his 1/10 gap.
Yeah, and the thing is, well, normally by our standards that'll be a very, very good lap. The guys in this division are just so unbelievably quick, and you've got guys just behind him, like we mentioned earlier, guys like Reino Room, like Stefan Rual, Alban Desley, who just hit the wall there, so unfortunately I think that'll be the end of his run. But Michael Francesconi as well, be interesting to see what he can do. Fred Gosling, who else is down there that may get a bit higher. We will take Rob Van Starkenmerven, of course, as is established. He will be down the order with a penalty. Even Hindu perhaps, for Matt Corpse doing a fairly average shot at the moment on a 125. I think he may have just had a bit of a tangle with one of the Ghost Speed cars. We'll try and take a look. Now it's coming into turn 1, leaving the pit lane, and the Ghost Speed, and that may have been Pushka, has gone wide to completely avoid any contact with the Matt Corp of Ivan Hindu, and that's not the way you want to end the qualifying session, as Martin Gosby comes across the line and he stops those back in the pit lane. The gap now to a tenth of a second as Philip Pushka improves at 123.184, and the gap is a lot bigger than what we're used to seeing here. And the gap from first to 11th still only 0.4 seconds. So we're used to seeing in the top 5 it being a little bit closer than that. So I think Pushka may have got a little bit of an advantage tonight.
Yeah, and I think Stefan Rual just made it through. He's in there. I think it was him that moved up. Vecchione is now on the bubble. Bracken has been knocked out. We know Bracken's going to get the lap done, but Reino Room might not. He left the pit lane with about 1:26 remaining. That's going to be tight whether he makes it round in time. He's coming around the Parabolica, 11 seconds to go. I think he will just get it done. But yeah, like you said, Pushka's looking very strong again, and he'll be gutted he didn't win last time out. But he's definitely interested in Reino Room there on the inside of the straight, maybe trying to avoid some bumps. As he goes into the first turn, heavy braking. Misses the first curve, kind of rolls on the second one. Oh, big oversteer moment on traction as he comes down the grand curve.
Yeah, I think Reino Room has also played it very smart there, because he's got just a prime track opportunity. There will be no cars at all when it comes to his lap. So in terms of traffic, he's going to be going exceptionally well. He's going to have no fear of the cars intruding on his qualifying lap, and that's what you want, especially if you want to get into Q2 in the dying moments. Let's take a look at it now.
Yeah.
He's looking
no one
pretty
really
good.
out there.
And I think he's played it very wise, but also very risky as well, because he has split second too late, and he wouldn't even be able to get there because the session time would have ticked to 0. But this is a last chance saloon for Reino Room then to see what the RS Evo car is capable of. Can he get into the top 10 and perhaps shock a lot of people? We're about to find out as he comes in towards the final part of the track, flat out down here. Then there's not much left he can do except to hope that lap was good enough as he comes in towards the final corner. So go speed off in the background and try and find out who that was as they go in towards the final corner.
Hoffman. It'd be interesting. He was off. He's already done lap time. But yeah, Reino Room coming down. I don't know whether it's going to be enough. It's not been the best of laps, I don't believe. No, he doesn't get it done.
He's given up and he's crossed the line in style. But unfortunately, style points aren't awarded here in FSR. And you can see Hoffman return back to the pit lane.
Style points aren't awarded. That was surprising. I would have given him a 10 though. That was incredible. Hopefully he won't be doing that in the race. Ivanov left the qualifying session. He did not post the time, and he is not in the room right now ready for race. So not a great session from him either. But yeah, running down the order. Pushka with the 23.184, the fastest. Gosby P2, Netrex. He has come alive recently. Simonich, we know how quick he is. He's missed a couple rounds. Hoffman P4, Peter Dulvar P5, Jack Keithley only P6, only. Ivar Calamies P7, Stefan Rouault 8, 9 Cyril Verdmuller, and Matteo Vecchioni is the last guy to make it through to Q2.
Yep, so all these guys will be looking to try and get the best out of their car into this session. And of course, it's a very interesting format here. If you're not familiar with it, I will quickly run through it for you. The drivers only have 1 lap, unlike other series. So, well, technically 3. You leave the pit lane for your out lap, do your flying lap, and then bring the car home for an in lap. But of course, the most interesting factor in this server is that you will have other cars around you, and that's going to be a very crucial factor, because the last thing you want is to be held up by a car on an out lap who doesn't realise, and we have seen that in the past here. But Ivar Kalamis is the first man out on track. He's had a very busy weekend this week, to say the least. Of course, he was racing in the Touring Pro Series World Supertech Series last night, and did very well as well. Had a bit of an unfortunate first race, but still took a victory in race number 2. So this man hasn't had the easiest of weekends, to say the least, and he's had a lot of practice for. So to still come out and be in a firm top 10 position is a very great to see. So we'll see what Ivar can do. He's a very great sim racer, as we all know. And I think if we're looking for a pole position today, Jack Keithley's starting to kind of firm himself now in the lead of the championship. He's got just looking through the standings at the moment, and it's looking like it's going to be all set in stone though, because the guys like Philip Pushka are definitely showing their faces more now.
Yeah, you're right, and Jack did extend his lead by beating Pushka last round, but only because Pushka hit the wall, if you remember correctly, coming into the pit lane at Spa. So he definitely didn't have that race won up until that point. Not saying he didn't deserve to win it, but just saying that he definitely was pushed hard. The points currently, for those that do not know, Jack Keithley is on 310, is a lot. Philip Pushka is 239. Ivar Kalami is 222. Malorki is 187. Peter Dulvar 181, so those two are close. And Van Starkenberg dropped down a little bit. He's on 172, but still hanging in there. Definitely within striking distance of P2, although Keithley has almost doubled Van Starkenberg's points. That's how good a season he's had.
And Keithley's going to need a very strong qualifying session right now, and now this is going to be interesting. Will Keithley perhaps hamper the lap time of Ivar Kalamis, who's currently doing a sterling job at the moment? He will be the benchmark time, as he'll be the first man to cross the start-finish line.
Gosby
now
actually.
Under the bridge. Oh, Martin Gosby to start the lap, but all eyes will be on both these drivers then. And so Gosby coming in towards the end of his lap. No traffic should be an issue. Of course, just in front of Ivar Kalamis is championship leader Jack Keithley. Let's just take a look at what Gosby can do then. We know this man can be competitive. Just think back to Valencia and what Gosby was capable of. And this is his only chance to get a qualifying lap, and no second chances here in the second session of qualifying. Let's see what Martin Gosby can do then, as he's flat out now down the home straight. Is it going to be enough? We're going to see the benchmark time there from the Netrex driver, and he does a 1:23.5. Question is, where's Ivar Kalamis? He's not too far away. He's coming across the start-finish line now, and he does a 1:24.1. So he may have actually been hampered by Jack Keithley. It didn't really look like it. Keithley's going into turn 1 to begin his lap, so this was going to be the decider here, if you will. In terms of Keithley's title drive, of course, we've had 10 rounds out of the way. We've only got a few more to go before the end of the season, and Keithley is looking pretty good, as you say, for a championship victory. To do that and actually seal it, he's still going to need a pole position to kick-start that run into the first corner here at Monza, because as we've already established, Matt, it's not as easy as it looks to get through there clean.
And it doesn't look easy either. Here comes Sivanich, and he goes P1, just beats him on a 23.528. I believe Stefan Rouault might be the next guy across the line. Here he comes, and he goes P4, 24.2. So Kalamis will be pleased, and he managed to stay ahead of Rouault there, because he's a long way off, 6/10 off the first two times of Simonich and Gosby, who both put in a good time here. Who's next on the track? Pushka's heading into the final corner. It looks like everybody else is around the Ascari chicane. Keithley's right behind Pushka. But here comes Verdmuller. He's the first guy. And Verdmuller will go P3. Manages to get in that gap. Next will be Philip Pushka.
Yep, the man who had a very interesting Q1. And
didn't do it.
No, that's very interesting indeed. And Simončić, we spoke very highly of him, as we said, back in Valencia. Currently visional pole position with only a few more guys to set lap times. Well, Keithley crosses the line in P5.
Way up.
And that is way down the order, behind the main title contenders of Pushka and Gosby. Ivar Kalamis, of course, in 7th. Verdmuller's crossed the line. We're waiting on the times of Matteo Vecchioni and Marcus Hoffman. Both of these guys on out laps at the moment. Hoffman will be the first man to set a lap. But talking at the moment, and still there's only late surprises. This has been a very interesting session. We said that Monza can shake up the order a bit, and it really has. Janesh Simoncic is currently the man on provisional pole by 500th of a second. So
Wow.
really is flying at the moment, and if he can hold that during the race, we're going to be in for an absolute stormer. Gosby's in second, Pushka third, Peter Duvlar fourth in front of his teammate Keithley, which could be vital there to have some kind of rear gunner support, or perhaps the other way around, because Keithley's going to look to charge. Calamise is down in seventh. Marcus Hoffman is currently P8, Stefan Rual down in 9th, and Vecchioni 10th. But none of those guys could improve their lap time. But I think the crowd must be going crazy right now. Janesh Simoncic, the underdog in this race season. Nobody, I think, actually expected him to get pole position. And I'll tell you, if he can finish there, Matt, could he be a contender for your Driver of the Day award?
If you finish in first place, you might be a contender. I can't say, you know, for definite, but you might be a contender. But yeah, P1, P2, P3, all a 23.5. Then Peter Duvlar, who out-qualifies Jack Keithley, 4th and 5th. Those two are sort of, well, no man's land, really. Much quicker than the guys behind them, but a little bit slower than the front three. So they were kind of on their own in 4th and 5th, Precision Motorsports team. Cyril Verdmuller, P6. Ivar Calamise, 7. Hoffman, 8. As Liam said earlier, all those guys, though, were all close, all the way down to Bruot. So there was kind of 2 packs and 2 guys in no man's land. The 2 packs, the front 3 and the bottom 4, and then you had the 2 Precision Motorsports cars just, I don't know, Sunday drive maybe.
Yeah, so we've got a 10-minute warm-up session now. I think one man who may need to need this is Janesh Simoncic, who's had a bit of a bumpy exit on the exit of the first chicane. Maybe just practicing that run into turn 1. That could be very interesting to see if he gets into there cleanly. And the thing is as well, even if you start pole position, you're not guaranteed a clean run in there. If you do get a bad start, you are unfortunately going to be swamped, and you don't really want to be swamped by Gosby and Pushka. Those 2 guys renowned to be very feisty racers. We've seen plenty of action concerning them in the past, so be sure to watch out for that going into turn 1. Hopefully they can all make it through okay, and we're going to see a fantastic race earlier on. I believe we are joined by James Tucker at the moment, if he's in the server. Are you there, James?
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, so James...
Go ahead.
So James is with us. You just witnessed a very interesting qualifying session. You're going into a warm-up session now where the pressure's not on, you just need to make final preparations for the race. How would you kind of approach a session like this after a very kind of interesting session, to say the least, of qualifying?
Yeah, I was listening to you guys live, and I say you did a very good job. Gosby impressive again after his Valencia, and impressive from Simoncic, isn't it? But yeah, this warm-up session in the World Trophy race, which I was commentating on earlier, we saw a lot of guys really pushing the envelope in this warm-up, seeing how far they can push the car, because it's into these chicanes, it's very easy to just brake a little too late, go right over the curb and cut it, and obviously you're not allowed to cut more than just a handful of times during the race.
Sorry to interrupt you there, James, but Philip Pushka and Calamise were just having an epic fight. I don't know what they were doing. They were like racing each other side by side, and Pushka tried to go on the outside into the second chicane, and Calamise definitely didn't like that, and he kind of pushed him right through the gravel. So those guys are already fighting. I'm not quite sure why, trying to win the Golden Duck Award of winning the warm-up session, I'm sure. But yeah, like you said, it'd be interesting to see who takes this one seriously, James, and who's going to come out on top. Looks like Peter Duvlar's the guy doing the most laps right now. And no, that's wrong. He's the one in the pit lane. Of course, the commentator is wrong. Says he's done 2 laps. I guess he's already happy.
Yeah, Duvlar, of course. Sorry, the winner of this race last time out. Not sure if either of you guys saw the World Trophy race, but it really was absolutely fantastic. The racing was like I remarked in the commentary, it was like the Indy 500. Guys were patting, and then there was basically a sitting duck down the next straight to get him past again in the slipstream. I'm sure we'll probably see the same sort of racing here, so look forward to a really epic race.
Indeed we will. And so a few more minutes of warm-up before we will go green flag underway, and it's going to be a race to remember, I think. I mean, we haven't seen an order quite this shaken up for a long time, and if Keithley wants to get maximum points and pretty much guarantee his championship, he's going to have his work cut out for him today. It's not just a few drivers he's got to navigate, it's some of the title contenders, and Rob van Starkenberger, none more so than other, who will need to try and push to the front as soon as possible, of course, having that end of grid penalty, and that could really harm his chances of a good championship finish. That we'll have to see what progresses as he will go into the race. And the thing is, he's got to be more careful but could also be there to pick up the pieces of if there's any fireworks. He could just slip through, providing that he's on his toes and being very aware.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think you have to really decide which strategy you're going to go with. Are you going to go, you know, everything you have all in into the first turn and try and make 3, 4, 5 places on the first lap? Or are you going to take the risk and just, you know, cruise and see whether there is a big crash? You know, they're both risks. Personally, I don't like trying to stay out of the way of crashes because crashes, you know, tend to find you anyway. So I think you should probably always be looking to try and go forward no matter what. But you know, maybe you'll think twice about that, and maybe you'll just kind of hang out back and see what does happen. Plus, I mean, we do have some very high talented drivers in this series, so it's not impossible for them to all make it round turn 1. Far from it. It's just going to be difficult.
A few notes from the World Trophy race, sorry to cut you off there, Lim, is the start. I believe it was Tommy Nilsson, our cameraman, made a fantastic start from 3rd place, and then he was completely cut off by the 2 cars in front. So the thing is, it's such a long run down to the first corner. That's what really means that anyone really from in the first 5 positions can take the lead realistically on this start. You can get a massive slipstream.
You're not trying to suck up to the cameraman at all there, are you, James, by any chance? So
no,
so he always looks at what you're talking about. I see how it is.
It was a shame because he got just made the other 2 look like they were standing still, but then he was just cut off and went all the way back to 7th place. Another thing to watch out, I'm not sure if you 2 have talked about this, is the tyre wear was remarkably low in the World Trophy race, and I think we should see the same again now. We were all expecting 3 to 4 stops, but in fact they only did 2. And actually, I'm sure they could have done much more. The undercut just wasn't working at all, because actually, if you got out on cold tyres, you're actually slower for a few laps than guys who were staying out on warm tyres. So look for that to be a factor today. I don't think you'll be able to pit 1 lap earlier than someone, do a fast lap and pass them. I don't think that will work.
Yeah, I think due to the nature of this track as well, that strategy lane would be very tricky, because providing you're within at least a 1 to 2 second gap of someone, you would be able to get a nice slipstream either down this front stretch here, or of course at the back stretch. So it's going to be very interesting to see. A lot of these corners are very quick, so it's going to see a lot of pack racing, as I call it, as we kind of mentioned earlier, Matt, with guys perhaps in trains of 4 or 5 cars all just sticking around each other pretty much nose to tail as they flow around this exceptional circuit. But it's going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top, and we said the start's crucial, and getting swamped can be a real issue. If one person gets off the line badly, it can cause real problems further down the field and really cause a kind of chain reaction. And hopefully we don't see any of that as we go into the final 3 minutes of warm-up, and this isn't really a true indication of race pace. Some guys may even test their qualifying setup. We've seen that before to find out where they've gone wrong. Some guys will use race setup with different tyres, or perhaps a heavier fuel load, or maybe even the one they're starting on. It's all down to the driver's personal preference, but one thing for sure is that Zhernez Simoncic this isn't a fluke pole position. He's currently fastest in the warm-up by another 0.03 of a second, so he's by no means slow out there, and he's had a big sideways moment there as he came onto the stretch, and that could have harmed him very badly. Luckily, he was only in a warm-up session, and just as I've said that, Filip Puška goes quicker on a 1:24.259, so that's 2/10 quicker already than Zhernez Simoncic, and if the field really does keep scrambling like this, we're actually going to be on for a stormer of a round 10 of the Formula Sim Racing World Championship, World Series.
Looks like Reino Room's doing some speed testing, because he just cut straight across the turn 1 chicane, and he went straight across the turn 2 chicane, so it looks like he's just got to see how fast he could go. Just something that made me chuckle.
Yeah, I think another thing that was interesting, we never talked about this, but I just saw Calamise and Keithley, obviously 2 guys, the 2Ks out there that you want to be looking to copy, 2 of the better drivers. They actually just did a practice pit stop, and they came hurtling into the pit lane, I guess to see how fast they could push the line, and I'm pretty sure that Calamise went in too quickly and would have got a drive-through had that been the race, but that's good practice for them, because they obviously want to lose as little time as possible in the major part where you usually lose time. So they're definitely using this warm-up session wisely, and doing a few practice starts and knowing exactly where they are, so nothing catches up and creeps them out.
That's something else I noticed actually in the World Trophy race was Villa Lapala actually made time over Peter Balak and won the race eventually in the pit stop, not in the actual pit lane, but in the pit entry. because it's all about, you have to compromise your speed out of the Parabolica to make a good pit entry, because if you just go flat out on the edge of Parabolica, then you probably miss the pit entry. But if you are too conservative, you lose a lot of time. So it really is a fine art getting down onto pit road in Monza, and also getting slowed down because it's going so fast around the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely.
agree.
So getting ready to go to the race session now. Final pre-race nerves will be setting in for some of these drivers, but none more so I can imagine than Zhirnej Simončić. This is his first pole position of the year, and he's still fairly new to this series as well, and it's just great to see him out in the front of the field and really giving everyone up for their money. And I'm sure if he's in the World Series next season, he'll be a title contender, as you can see him practicing his starts there at the end of the pit lane. So obviously trying to get those 100% perfect. I mean, the last thing you want to do starting from pole is have a bad start. So 30 seconds left in the session, and so what must be going through the mind of that young man right now?
Well, a lot, because the problem is when you start on pole is you have no reference. Even if you make the first corner first, you have the hardest job, because you have to choose exactly where to brake. If you brake too early, somebody can hit you from behind, your race can be over. You brake too late, you go through the chicane, you get a drive-through penalty, your race is over. And the thing is that they haven't been able to practice this, because normally you're hurtling to that corner a good 20 mile an hour faster than they will be, because of course they start from a complete standstill. So the braking point is very, very difficult to predict. It's a lot easier, I find, when you're on the inside, just because if you do get out brake, you know, if you brake a little bit early and somebody brakes later, you can tend to lift off the brakes and adjust. So it'll be interesting to see whether he does try and keep the inside or hold the outside, because of course it's a right-left first turn, so technically the inside and outside are the same thing.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
There are the infamous R-Factor words then, as the field get ready to line up on their grid slots, and Zhirnej Simončić will lead the field around a pace lap, then they'll return to their grid slots and get ready for those infamous 5 red lights before heading 53 laps around this renowned Monza circuit. And a victory here for any one of these guys could be absolutely crucial in terms of their own championship battles, but none more so than for the man sat on pole position, or the man in 5th place, Jack Keithley, who leads the championship. He's in a bit of a safety spot, if you will, on the starting grid. He's got a position teammate in front of him and behind him in terms of Dubler and Verdmüller. So as the field begins to snake their way around Monza, and you can just get an idea, even though this is, you know, you're going around 60 miles an hour, just how slow, or how long even, that run into turn 1 is. But I think that in terms of Simončić, how he's got to approach his pace lap is that he needs to try and bunch the field up as much as possible. You don't want to be accelerating away, because then you've got longer to wait there, and if you start on colder tyres than the guy in second, it's going to really harm your run into the first corner.
I think what's really key is cold brakes. If you have 2 cold brakes into the first corner, because even in the small amount of time it takes to get there, they're going to get up to high speeds. I'm expecting over 100 miles per hour, and braking down from then
Gosby's off.
Brakes,
Straight to the chicane.
And maybe prime example there of cold tyres or brakes. So sorry to interrupt you there, James, carry on.
Yeah, it will really affect your braking, and you could go sailing up the inside of someone and cause a major collision that you two were talking about. So really look out for that. And you'll see these guys perhaps not weaving around too much, because there's really no need to warm up your tyres too much here at Monza. Because apart from to get traction off the corner, you don't want. I reckon these guys will be going quite long in their stints. So they won't want to destroy their tyres too much.
I agree. As they come through the Ascari chicane, apologise for everybody else in the lower half of the grid. We haven't run through those positions yet, so let's do that really quick as they all start to warm up their tyres. Simončić on pole, Gosby on P2, Pushka on 3, Dulevar is 4th, Jack Keithley P5 championship leader, Ivar Calamies 7, Cyril Verdmüller is 6th, just ahead of Calamies, Marcus Hoffman is 8th, Stefan Rouault 9th, Matteo Vecchioni 10th, Maurice Bracken is 11th, Renault Room 12th, Alban Desley 13th, Michael Francesconi is 14th, Fred Gosling 15th, Stefan Kanitz, and new guy is 16th, Pedro Melim, the defending champion, as they all bunch up here on the grid. This is quite funny to watch. Henry Vjok is 18th, Matteo Thomas is 19th, Matthew Meyer 20, Ivan Hinchu 21, Van Starkenberg 23.
Absolutely. So the rest of the field coming round that final corner and getting ready to line up on their grid slots. Eyes on the prize for all of them. So many contenders want to win this race. So many guys want to get maximum points and keep their championship hopes alive. Only one of them is going to come out on top. 23 drivers, 53 laps, and 5 red lights as we get ready to go green.
Dulbar jumped.
I think, yeah, Dulamar's jump now, that's very crucial there. But away we go, it's right to the first corner then. But Jonas Simoncic, who leads away. Question is, he's got Gosby on the inside, he's got to be careful not to relinquish. He's had a perfect start so far, it's got to be said. As the field snakes through turn 1, as the car gone wide there, it's one of the Obuttos, and luckily, somehow so far, there's been no contact. So great stuff there at the front, and very professional driving by all of them. You take a look now as the field all snakes through, but it's contact at the back of the field. Multiple cars off. Verrock's involved. I think that's one of the AT Racing is off as well. As Matthias Meyer, Marshall Thomas, Stefan Kanitz is also off track, but back towards the front of the field. Stefan Rual is currently 12th. You can see them all trying to get into a firm race rhythm as soon as possible. But it's been a dream start for Jonas Simoncic. Pushker up to second, Keithley third, Gosby down in 4th position. Keithley started 5th, is now up to 3rd, so this man is on a charge. He wants maximum points here from Monza, and he knows he can do it. And you got some side-by-side action there. I believe that's Matteo Vecchioni trying to go out the inside of Marcus Hoffman, and Hoffman somehow holds on. That's brave. There he spun almost, he clinched it. Somehow saved from spinning, spins it back round, and there's going to be no contact. But he's going to rejoin very slowly. Driver's going to have to be wary. And that was a brave defending manoeuvre, and I'm sure, I think that move looked like it was inevitable, and there's cars weaving just in front as well. That looked like that was Vecchioni once again finding himself in the midst of the action. This time Ivar Kalami's the man on the attack. He's going to have a great run into that first corner, tucked away behind that EDR management, dips out of the slipstream for another drag race, almost touching wheels a bit there. And he's got to be so careful. You've got 2 positions just in front going side by side, and there'll be no fight there from Vermeulen, and Kalami gets the job done. And he's got to move on into 7th place and try and catch the cars in front as the rest of the field snake through the opening corner. And still no major casualties yet as Marshall Thomas, Matthias Meyer and Roman Ivanov are currently in the pit lane. Ivanov is the first retirement of the race, but apart from that, it's been a very interesting first lap and much contact.
No, there was only really one.
There was a fair bit of contact. I mentioned Melim and Brackham, and Melim actually did a NASCAR-style path into turn 1, just behind Reino Rumu. Dived up the inside of the Parabolica. There was 4 guys on about a space for about 4 cars, and then Melim just tapped Bracken as he went into the corner. And actually they're side by side again now, and Bracken's going to take the place back on the outside. He tapped him, got him loose, and then and Melim's going to try and get it back. There'll be more contact. There will, and Melim's going to spin.
Oh no!
Right in the middle of the Ascari. And he's got to be really careful now. 3 cars just about managed to make their way past him, and that was, I could see that one coming. Dangerous driving from Milan, really.
And cars dying all over the place. Yeah, so very dangerous, as you said. And Verrock now up to P13.
Gosby on Keithley.
I mean, look at now as we quickly check back through the field. You said, I mean, look at Rob van Starkema, isn't it? Started P24, now it's a 14. 4 of them touching each other practically. They can't go 3 wide. They can't go 3 wide shortly into that first corner. Starkema on the outside, Desley in the middle, Verrock on the inside. Starkema backs out, and very sensibly so for now, as Alban Desley surrenders the position to Verrock. But that could have ended catastrophically. I think that was a very wise decision by all the parties involved there.
Yeah, and while you were watching that fight, there was a great fight going on at the exact same time. Cosby did get by. Keithley, but it looks like Keithley's got him back.
He's going to have to hold the inside line. Keithley somehow trying to hold on. How did he do that? Jack Keithley, that is exactly why he's leading this championship. Adaptable in any situation, but that precision driver has got a cavalry of cars right behind him, led by Martin Gosby in the Netrex. But the thing is, if Verdmüller gets through, or Duvlar for that matter, then there's going to be a bit of a comfort zone for Jack Keithley out front, and that's what he so desperately needs right now, though, as Gosby once again goes on attack mode into the slipstream of Jack Keithley, whilst at the front, Jonas Simoncic is still leading from Philip Pushka. Gosby goes up the inside. It's got to stick. Yes, it is. Ryden does now break himself. No, he doesn't. So provisionally, Gosby's back into 3rd position. But a very interesting train there. You've got
the leaders
get this run.
Is Pushka on Simoncic, like you said, James, side by side into turn 1. Pushka outbrakes him, brakes perfectly, takes the position. Just behind them into it does Gosby. Hold on, he does. There's a huge train behind now because Keithley was holding these guys up. He looks like he hasn't got any pace at all in that car, but he still managed to hold a great pass around the outside of the Lesmo.
And now here comes Jonas Simoncic trying to come back at your new race leader, Philip Pushka. Of course, these guys are Go Speed teammates. You're not going to expect them to go hammer and tong and perhaps risk both losing the races. As you can see, some very big wheel lock marks. Further back in the field as Gosby now tries to pull away from Keithley and the cavalry behind him. There's also Maurice Bracken's going to catch that one, as is Reino Rumi's in the top 10. Van Starkenberg for 13th, goes up inside, tries to look for 12th, and that's going to be very tricky to make through the next corner. They're still side by side, and somehow Verrock, I tell you what, he has really impressed me today already. With 3 laps into the race, that man has established himself in the midfield. He's held off some big contenders, and he's driving the defensive race of a lifetime right now.
Yeah, and Vecchioni's on the move too. The ATR car has come alive. He's all over the back of Calamise. Oh, Calamise there! Gave him the inside and then decided to not give it him, and he's going to try and force him around the outside. And this train is just... It's going to be so difficult to pull away, like you said, and it looks like Vecchioni's going to get the inside on Calamise. Who's got the faster car in a straight line? Looks like Calamise does, so he's going to have to tuck back into the slipstream here. And back out again.
Calamise trying to push him to the inside, and he's getting very aggressive there. There's a car off. I think that was one of the AT Racing, may have had a temporary glitch there. Calamise somehow holding on, but that was debatable. I think that was a bit too aggressive there by Ivar Calamise. I'm sure that'll be debatable a bit later on by the Italian Matteo Vecchioni. So a bit further back through the field, Van Starkenberg has navigated his way past Henry Verrock, so expect him to be joining the back end of that train very soon. And if Van Starkenberg can get his nose in with the likes of Calamise, like Verdmuller, like Dubois, like Keithley, then this is going to be a very interesting fight to watch for the next 50 laps or so. We are on lap 5 now, out of 53. The laps are beginning to tumble away, but I'm sure that's not what you want to hear from Jono Simoncic. He's still holding second, but while all this has gone on behind him, he's established a 4-second lead to Martin Gosby, so he's definitely pulling away at the moment from that train, and that's exactly what he needs if he wants a decent result today. But Gosby now broken free from that train is going to be right on them and trying to close down that gap.
Gosby must have damaged his tyres earlier. As Matt was saying, he went up the inside of Jack Keithley, but he slid with all 4 wheels right onto the curb, and Jack Keithley managed to get the position back just momentarily before we saw him repass. But must have really damaged his tyres there, and I wouldn't be too certain if perhaps when he gets a new set of 4 tyres on, he might be a bit faster.
Calamise and Erdmola side by side. Calamise trying to go around the outside, down the straight. They touch! Oh! That could have been race over! Calamise just holds it up, and that's
and a big
Calamise
sideways moment as well. Very big sideways moment. He's definitely trying to leave it all on the track. Verdmuller reluctant to let go, as Vecchioni unfortunately has dropped the position due to this. But now Cyril Verdmuller looking to prove his worth. Renowned Precision Motorsports driver, and he looks to the inside and thinks better of that one. That was never going to work. He's gone deep in the chicane, and that was him. And Vecchioni, fancies his chances. And that was a very risky move. He's going to have a bit more momentum now as well, as he's trying to get on that back end of Ivar Calamise. But if he does it, he's going to lose traction. Look at these 3, all having the same idea. And if they can get free wide into turn 1 like we always saw earlier, then that's going to be a sight for the archive, and that's for sure. Because right now Vecchioni's not sure whether to attack or defend. He's got Verdmuller all over the rear end of him, and luckily Verdmuller does not make a move, and Calamise begins to slowly slip away until they head in straight. Who's got the most momentum as they come down the back stretch in towards the final corner? Let's see if anyone's going to try and move. And Vecchioni dips to the inside to get a bit of clean air. You want as much downforce as possible coming into that corner, but no move just yet. A bit further back through the field. It's fairly tidy out the moment, so
Dulvar up the inside of Keithley down the straight. The 2 Precision Motorsports cars shouldn't fight each other too hard, and Keithley falls back another spot. He's just struggling right now to keep up. Dulvar is now ahead of him, and look, like you said, Gosby has pulled out a huge gap already to those guys, and Simoncic is now on second behind Pushka. So Keithley looks to me like he's really struggling, James.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just watching that battle between Dubois and Keithley, and I could tell that Dubois was going to get that position. He kept looking to the inside, trying to show Jack Keithley he was there. And it seemed once Jack Keithley got the message, he didn't fight it too hard, which is what a good teammate would do this early in the race.
Yeah.
But Liam might be having a few problems again. Let's hope it's not terminal this time.
So we believe as well. Sorry to interrupt you, James. As Liam is having technical difficulties. Hopefully he'll come back momentarily. But yeah, there could be different strategies going on too. As people are starting to figure out now. Maybe Keithley's trying to go a stop less or something like that. Maybe that's the reason why the lack of pace. Reino Room looks up the inside of Verdmuller. Oh, side by side, and he gets the place. Verdmuller is struggling now. He's falling backwards as Reino Room goes defensive.
Yeah, just watch him. He'll come back out the outside. This is the fantastic racing I was talking about. You can pass someone, but then they can repass you straight away. Will he manage to be late on the brakes into turn 1? Yes, he will. Fantastic pass. Oh, a little bit of a tap on the inside from Reino Room. He's been very feisty, I would have to say, in these early laps. But a great pass from Cyril Verdmuller. But watch Reino Room to perhaps pounce straight away.
Yeah, it was interesting because Verdmuller came back over to the inside before the corner. Like, he was past Reino Room, and he very risky strategies come back over the inside ahead of Reino Room and then brake, taking the line. It worked out, but you definitely got a few pushes up the back there as it looks like Reino Room here is under attack now from Bracken, and everybody's under attack except Pushka. Gosby is all alone right now, sort of matching Simonich's times, but he's got a 4-second gap, so I don't know how he's going to catch that up. Dulevar is also pulling away from Keithley, who's going to come under attack from Calamies next.
Yeah, an impressive race so far from Calamies, really. I should look for him to pass Jack Keithley. Jack Keithley seems to be struggling in these early stages. He made a great start though, remember. 5th place is actually where he qualified, so that could be where his real speed lies. And Calamies isn't all over the back of him, but watch him to get a toe down this straight, and Keithley knows it. He's trying to break the toe, but it's just too high down this front straight, and Calamies is just going to sail past him up the inside. No trouble at all making that pass.
Yep. Looks like the guys all sort of in rhythm now. 8 laps gone of this 53-lap race here at Monza. And everybody's sort of starting to settle down, like you say. Calamies got by Keithley. Keithley's already back. Like, I know, even if he is trying to do 1 stop less, I can't see how he's going to win this race right now. He's already 9.6 seconds off the leader, Philip Pushka, who's driving brilliantly right now.
Yeah, as I said, I don't expect the tyres to wear too much, so I think 1 stop less could work. I mean, it depends what is 1 stop less than what. If it's 1 stop less than 2, then it may not work. But I think if everybody else is doing a 3 stop and he's managing to do a 2 stop, I think that could possibly work out for him. If he can keep the leaders within a 20-second window, so that's what's really key. Meanwhile, up front, Ruglar is now right on the back of Calamies, perhaps looking to retake that position.
Yeah,
the wrong way round.
Yeah, well, you know, they're all the same. It's pretty difficult to somehow keep up with this race. Oh, Calamies
gets him back.
Wow, those 2 guys fighting it, and it looks like that's not going to be over. And this Calamies up the inside of Dulevar, I believe. No, God. Wait, Calamies. Yeah, got by Dulevar. That's right. The timing system got a bit screwed up there because he made the pass before the start-finish line. But he made a nice, easy pass there. So now he's. The problem is, Reino Room's done.
And Bracken got past him. What happened was Verdmuller and Reino Room made contact into the first chicane, and then Reino Room was forced off the track, and now Verdmuller's trying to go up the inside of Bracken again. Bracken managed to very opportunity to get past the boat, and Verdmuller makes that pass look easy. Yeah, they made contact into the first corner. Actually, Bracken's coming back again, is he? Into the first Lesbo. We'll see if he can get that spot, and Verdmuller pulls his car to the apex nicely. But fantastically, there was contact between those 2, and that meant that Reino Room went over the curb, and then more contact, and he just spun out. It's a real shame, but I think Reino Room has almost got karma because he was pushing really hard to try and keep the position. Maybe this early in the race he should have perhaps conceded once Verdmuller was up the inside, especially knowing he'd not be able to get the slipstream on the problem straight and get him back.
That's true. That's a very good point. Looks like there's somebody runs wide there. It's that Bracken running wide in the Netrex car. Vecchione's all over the back of Keithley now. Keithley's under attack constantly here. Side by side, Verdmuller, Bracken still fighting it out, like you said, James. These guys are just fighting it, giving it everything they have. They're still side by side. Oh, he tucks back in now, Bracken. Bracken's going to pull out again, is he? And going to try and attack again. No, he doesn't make it work.
Really fantastic battle in these 2. This looks like one of the battles of the day. And Van Starkenberg, who we know is very, very feisty when he wants to be, is just staying beside those 2, lurking, cue the Jaws music because I reckon he's going to be lining them up for a pass. And now they're going to go side by side again. Vermeulen has the inside, and Bracken will try a very daring pass on the outside to make a little bit of contact.
Oh, over the curve!
Oh.
Still right there. These guys just fighting for each position. Vermeulen's found himself to the front of the train again. I mean, he took so much curb. I don't know how he made that pass, but it was a great pass. It looks like Bracken's going to have Van Starkenberg all over him. Surely Van Starkenberg is going to get all of these cats very, very soon, as he has caught them up right from the back of the grid. Remind you guys that missed the start of this race. Not sure where you were, but Van Starkenberg did start at the back and is making his way through the field, currently in P10 as they go side by side. Do they? Yeah, they do now. He looks up the inside into the Parabolica, and he's now going to have to try and get Vermeulen slipstream though, because surely Bracken will come right back at him.
Yeah, Bracken's right tucked up on that rear wing, and really it's almost indefensible for Van Starkenberg, but Bracken is not taking the slipstream. I'm not sure what that's about. He should have taken the slipstream and tried to repass Van Starkenberg. But that means that Van Starkenberg actually can pull away. It would have been an off move there from Bracken.
All these guys fighting for their lives, as we see, just running through the positions right now. 11 laps gone. We'll run through them. Philip Pushka is P1, Simonic P2, Gosby P3. I have to do this quickly because there might be another overtake. Calamies 4, Dulevar 5, Vecchione 6, Keithley down to 7 now. Vermeulen 8, Starkenberg 9, Bracken is 10, Rainer Room 11, Francesconi is having a decent drive in P12, ahead of his teammate Stefan Kanitz, who is all over the back of him and almost put it in the wall. Stefan Rouault 13, Henry Virak 15th, Hoffman is down to 16th, not sure what happened there. Oh, somebody's dropping down the order like a stone here. It is Alban Desley. He has crashed out. He was in 17th, but I'm sure he is no more. Ivan Hinchu will take that place. Melim is behind him. Gosling, Meyer, Thomas, and it's only Ivanov and now Alban Desley out of the race.
Meanwhile, Rob Van Starkenberg is right on the back of Cyril Vermeulen now. He's going to go into the first chicane, and Vermeulen takes the inside, but Van Starkenberg only has to go to the outside, and he's got so much speed in the slipstream. Notice as soon as he hits the wall of air that isn't in the slipstream, he stops, but he just has to be late on the brakes around the outside to superb technical pass. Oh, he slides a little bit. Can he cut him off in the apex? No. He manages to get the power down, and he will take that position. Vermeulen can have a look back into the second chicane, and we'll have to see.
I believe there was some action down in the pit lane there, if Liam knows what was going on. I believe that it was Calamies came in. Yeah, Calamies Simonic came in while you was talking with Van Starkenberg fight. So they came in, and interesting, with 12 laps to go, what sort of strategy are they looking at? If I can do my maths correctly, maybe a 3 stop there for those guys.
Yeah, I expect most to be on a 3 stop, and some people perhaps to stretch it to a 2 stop. But I think both strategies should be quite equal, to be honest, because it's really a trade-off between whether you manage to save your tyres and do less stops, but then you can't drive quite at the limit. It's almost like fuel mileage in an IndyCar race. You have to manage your tyres a lot more. Or whether you choose to just go all out, and it's really about your driving style, which one suits you, but also, of course, 3 stops perhaps means more possibilities for mistakes in the pit stops, so both are dangerous, because if you get caught on old tyres on 2-stop strategy, then that's your race over, really.
Yep, it's around about this time that we all kind of have to figure out what's going on. As Pushka coming into the pits, the race leader, and he comes out right behind this fight. That's not something you want to do. Simonic will have an opportunity to maybe close now, because he'll be stuck behind this epic fight going on between Vermeulen and Starkenberg. Vecchione dropped down the order. I believe he came into the pits. Gosby came into the pits also from P3 down to P7. Dulevar then leads this race. Precision Motorsports leading this race. They've been going backwards pretty much most of the race, but they're in the lead right now. So if the race ends with 13 laps to go, these guys will win the race, but I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'd watch out for Dulevar though, because of course he won the race last year at Monza, from the pole that time though, so his job was significantly easier. And I think since these position guys, our information has been, they're doing one less stop. If they can really make some good lap times now, which I think they should be able to do, then they'll just need to keep the other guys who are in about 18 seconds, and then they'll be able to come out in front and perhaps block, but it's very hard to stop someone from overtaking them a lot faster than you at this track.
Absolutely. 14 laps gone now. We're still trying to get Liam Jenkins back with us to provide his vast knowledge on the subject.
Pushka,
and of course,
Pushka's trying to get past Verdmuller. He's been held up significantly. Verdmuller is fighting for every inch he's got, and I'm not sure if Philip Pushka will really appreciate this, but of course it's helping out his precision teammates. So Verdmuller's doing the good thing for the team now. And look at Pushka, he's right
by
up the inside.
side.
Will Verdmuller fight it? No, he's just got too much traction on these new tyres, and he manages to pass him, but he certainly lost him a fair few seconds there, perhaps even a whole second, I think. Question is whether we'll fight Simoncic this hard as well.
Yeah, I don't think that the Precision Motorsport strategy is going to work. It looks to me like they're going to be way too slow for it to pan out and win the race. Like you said with Dullivar, he did win the race last year, so you can't count him out completely, but not sure if Jack Keithley will be taking the maximum amount of points. Fight just behind. Pushka is behind Van Starkenberg on the timing and scoring here. Yeah, that's right. He's behind Van Starkenberg now, and Simonic is the guy who's being held up by Verdmuller. Will he do the same for Simonic as he did for Pushka? That's the question. It's what everybody has riding money on. He does go defensive, so it's not like Simonic paid him off, because he's not being much of a help right now. Goes through the outside. Can he get it done? Oh, he's going to try, but the thing is, as much as he wants to try and gain time now on Pushka, who's free, has got, there's a slow-moving car there. It looks like
Gosling.
Oh, Gosling. Yeah, Gosling. Sorry. Right. Whew. That scared me right there for a minute. I thought it was Verdmuller. Of course, it was Precision Motorsport's car, so kind of scared me there. That's enough scares for one day. It was Gosling trying to get out the way there. Quite wise in the end. Apologies from yelling. But yeah, Pushka now, he was the one being held up, but now he's the guy with the clear track.
Van Starkenberg has just come out the pits after making his pit stop in third position. Now he's 10 seconds back off the leaders, and those leaders are going to be on the same strategy as him. So I think Van Starkenberg's also going for a two-stop strategy. So I think this strategy could work out, and I think if it's going to work out for anyone, it's going to work out for Rob Van Starkenberg, because I think he's got the most pace of any of those guys who are on this two-stop strategy. So I really watch out for him. If he can continue to make pace, continue to find time on the leaders, and I think that Rob Van Starkenberg could be a real threat to win this race, and if not, then at least get a podium finish.
Yep, absolutely, because it looks like the times, Peter Dullivar's times, I mean, they're just like silk. 25.00, and then 24.8, 24.8, 24.8, and a 24.8. The last three, 24.8, 3.6, 3.9, and 3.4. There was 4 thousandths of a second between his last 3 lap times. That's incredible. I was just looking through there, and he's posting his fastest laps of the race right now. But yeah, Van Starkenberg's quicker than both of them. A 9 for Keithley and 8 for Dullivar, but Van Starkenberg, I believe, has done a 7. 6 actually is his fastest lap. So like you said, I do believe what you're saying is correct, James, oh wise one. I do believe Van Starkenberg will be better off, as Virok is DNF'd. He is no longer running. He is still showing in P15, but that will surely update when the lap cars go down. Melim also with an accident, I believe, and he is in 21, so Virok will finish P20. That's a shame right there for Team Estonia, of course, only running the one car, and Virok, of course, the Estonian driver in that team. Back to the leaders. Peter Dullivar, 3.5 gap. When are these guys going to pit, do you think? That's the real question, if they are trying to do a stop less, and they pit right now. Well, Keithley does anyway. Dullivar does not, but Keithley into the pits. Let's see if this is a good stop.
Well, he stopped just perfect on his mark there, didn't he? But I didn't see how he came into the pit lane, because I think that's where you can really make it the majority of the time, is on pit entry. So watch for Peter Dullivar, the race leader, to pit in the next few laps. He's got a 10-second lead at the moment on Philip Pushka. Now, if there's going to be one more stop for Pushka, Pushka needs to do a little better than that if he's going to beat him. Although, having said that, when he comes out the pits for the final stint, Pushka will have newer tyres, so perhaps he'll beat him that way.
Yeah, there's a long way to go in this race yet. Van Starkenberg is already almost up to Jack Keighley, and he started from the back. So that's amazing, because those guys are on the same strategy, or very similar anyway, I believe. So yeah, that's interesting to see that Van Starkenberg's almost caught up to Keighley already. It's the first time this year that, I mean, we're not saying Keighley's struggling, but he has not got the dominant pace out there. He's going to have to pull something out, I think, to even get like a top 4 here today. I'm not sure whether he'll even be aiming for the win right now, because I think that deep down, if he gets a podium, he'd take that right now.
Yeah, if I was Keighley, I would too. He just hasn't had the pace, has he? In fact, he's been outpaced by his teammate, Douglas. So Liam, looks like he can come back in now. Technical problems over, is it? Or what we have?
To an extent, yeah. I mean, my internet's thrown me out of the server, basically. So first of all, I just want to apologise to all the fans for not being able to call this one. But I know you're in the very capable hands indeed of James and Matt, who are doing a great job. So I'll be watching the live timings and just keeping you updated. And Simonchich has just posted the fastest lap of the race. He did a fastest final sector out of anyone, and just absolutely rinsed the final time, if you will. He's 2/10 quicker than Philip Pushka that lap. The gap's now 2 seconds, so it'll be interesting to see just how quickly that closes and whether Pushka decides to make a stop, because Simonchich is a man on a mission, as Stefan Rualdis does a personal best as well. So a lot of these guys who have made stops are definitely finding a time, and it maybe start to be thinking caps on for the likes of I think he's just gone in actually.
Yeah, Gilbert came in.
Oh, sorry, I think Simonchich and Pushka actually stopped a little too early around lap 12. I reckon for a free-stop strategy to really pay off, I reckon you should be stopping about every 13 to 14 laps, because otherwise they're going to have to do a very long final stint, and that's going to hurt their tyres, and it's going to put them at the mercy of anybody who would even be doing a 4-stop, or perhaps anybody who's done a 2-stop and was already doing a very long final stint, who's already used to it almost. So I'm not sure about their strategies at the moment. I'm not sure if they're just right, but however, remember in Valencia I wasn't very sure about Martin Gosby's strategy, and look where that got me.
I don't think any of us were completely sure with that one, except Gosby, who did take the win. I'm not sure actually what you're talking about. I thought we called it perfectly that day, as we always do. However, right now, Philip Pushka is in P1. Hopefully he will not be, he'll be fairly ginger in the pit lane, I would think, this time round, Liam. Last time at Spa, he lost the lead of the race in the pits, so we'll be hoping not to repeat that here. I think I'd be going in with the brake pad firmly lit up, going into the pit lane, trying to make sure you don't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the last thing you want to do as well. And he deserved it so much, I think, in Spa as well. He did such an excellent job. And unfortunately, it wasn't to be his day, but as I say, every dog does have his day. And I wonder if this could be Philip Pushka's.
There's a battle on the track. Rob Van Starkenberg versus Jack Keighley. Had a little look up the inside into the second chicane, but Keighley just said you're not coming through that easily, and Van Starkenberg's going to have to wait until I think the main straight's the best place to pass. Obviously, Liam unfortunately can't see these battles for you, so I might have to interrupt every now and again. But carry on, Liam.
No, I was just making a comment now about Philip Pushka and how unlucky he was, but well, I think we'll have to see what he can do. We know this man has talent. He's definitely proven to a lot of people this entire first half of the season. So we'll have to see if it's going to be his day today. He already has taken a victory, of course, this season.
Van Starkenberg's going up the inside of Jack Keighley into the parabolica, and he's going to make that one look easy. However, Jack Keighley can maybe cross back over and get the inside again. Let's see what happens here.
I'm not sure about that decision, because surely he's a sitting duck now on the straight for Keighley, and here he comes. I'm not sure that's the best place to pass into the parabolica there, but he might be able to hold off. Keighley has no straight line speed. That's possibly why he doesn't have the very fast car right now. I mean, as soon as he pulled out Van Starkenberg's slipstream, he just almost like he hit a wall.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm not sure. Not sure whether he's got too much wing.
Yeah, I was just about to say too much wing probably for Jack Keighley. Is probably what's hurting him. So I wonder if he can make a change in the pit stop or something, because it definitely seems like he's got much less straight line speed than all the other guys who he's racing, and that puts Van Starkenberg in another position that's really virtual fourth or third, depending on how these pit stop strategies stay out. But look how fast he's pulled away already. Van Starkenberg is a really fast car today. I think a race-winning car if he can manage to get the job done.
We said it'd be a man to watch as well. Starting from the back of the field, he had a rear end of the grid penalty. Started from 24th, now up to P7, and I think he's just proven once again that this man has got a lot of pace. And I don't think it'll be too long before we see him in a World Championship seat. But for now, all eyes will be fixed on his race this afternoon at Monza. And we're not even halfway through yet, so there's still plenty of action to come. And if he could somehow pull off the impossible and get a victory, I'm pretty sure that would be a very worthy award of Matt's prestigious driver of the day.
No, let's not go crazy. Let's not talk about that just yet. Although right now I'd give it to pretty much all of the field, because we still have 19 guys running, and that is a great achievement. Almost halfway through this race, much better than what we saw at Spa. Spa was crazy on the other end with all the crashes going on. One guy, Liam, I'm sure you've been watching the times there, Gosby. Let's not cancel out Gosby, because he is 4 seconds behind Philip Puška. He was 5 or 6 seconds behind. He is matching Puška's times at the minute, not really gaining but not really losing. But he is he's caught 2 seconds in the last round of pit stops. So I definitely think that he's not out of the contention for winning this race. And Calamies now is P4. What sort of times is he doing? He's also pretty much matching the front guys. So I'd say any of those guys, obviously those 4 could win the race, and then Dulvar can also, because he's on a different strategy. So I'm really not sure which way this is going to go. Vecchione having a good race too, we haven't talked much about him. The ATR car, P6, he came alive last round. The whole ATR team came alive at Spa. They had a great result, and looking to try and do the same thing here.
Yeah, they really have transformed their season around. As we said in previous rounds, it's been a bit topsy-turvy for them, with management changes, driver changes, that sort of thing. But knowing they've come together and now getting back in those top 10s and more importantly near the top 5s as well is very important for them.
Ruro up the inside of Keithley. I mean, Keithley, it's like a charity right now. Please donate to the Jack Keithley Needs Some Speed Fund, because he has nothing down this straight. He just got mullered by Stefan Ruro, and he's down to 9th place right now. I mean, this must be so heartbreaking, because the thing is that the one thing you cannot do anything about is your straight line speed. You can drive the life out of it around the corners, use more curb, but you cannot do anything if your car's still on the straight. And I just wonder whether he hasn't got the mechanical grip, so he's had to put more wing on to try and give him some grip around the corners, because he needs just to restart this race right now and restart the whole setup, I think, from Jack Keithley, because right now it's just not working.
It's definitely a setup issue, isn't it? Because he's fine around the corners, he's fine in the chicanes. In fact, he's probably faster in the chicanes. If you watch his sector times, he's alright in the first sector, which of course just consists of the end of the long straight and the first chicane, really. But it's down the long back straight into the Parabolica, down the long straight into the Ascari. He's really, really struggling. It's just a shame, because like you say, you can't do anything about that. To adjust your driving style, apart from perhaps get a better exit. You can perhaps back up your exit a bit, but brake a little earlier and get a little bit of a faster exit. But he's just so slow down the straight.
And now he's Kanitz is already catching him up. At some point, surely the frustration is going to start to show. I mean, Keithley does have a big lead in the championship, as we were saying earlier, but Puška is in P2 in the championship, and he's P1 in the race right now. So that gap is going to come way down. If Keithley gets the minimum 10, then Puška gets 50, say. I mean, let's not go crisis mode yet. I think Keithley can finish higher than that, but if that happens, then that's 40 points lost in one round, and that's going to be a huge difference in the championship. Oh, the Kanitz almost put it in the wall. Round the Lesmo, he got way wide on their first Lesmo, and on the second Lesmo too, having all sorts of problems there. That'll give Keithley a bit of breathing room for a couple of laps at least. Running down the order, it looks like Simonic and Puška around about the same times, around about the same gap. Don't think any of them are really gaining or losing there, Liam. I don't see much difference on the times.
No, one man who is gaining though, I'd want you to get in. I mean, Gosby just did a personal best of a 124.290. Ivar Calamies in 4th just did a personal best and a session best last time round. So Ivar Calamies is one man definitely on a mission at the moment. His last time a 1:02.245. So those top 5 keep on improving. Pushka improved his personal best. Stefan Rual out of nowhere does a 1:24.2. So these tyres really beginning to come to the drivers now.
Renault room up the inside of Verdmuller makes it look easy. Verdmuller also in a Precision Motorsports car.
Yeah, big crash. Not sure who that is. Ivan Hinchu lost his front wing. Looks like his rear wing as well. I'm not sure how that happened.
Brakes. It says that it brake failure for Hinchu. Really, 24 laps into the race, brake failure. That's pretty bad miscalculation there from the MatCorp team, who are a very experienced team. They're a very high quality organisation, so I'm not sure what happened there. It'll take some debriefing on that one. Not even halfway through the race yet, and the brakes have gone. So need a bit more brake duct than that, unless Hinchu had some serious problem there. I don't know, but he's out the race. Good spot there from James Tucker. It looks like Dulvar is been passed by Vecchione. He's looking to get him back here on the back straight, heading into the Parabolica. He won't try a pass into the Parabolica. Let's see whether Dulvar. Yeah, let's see if Dulvar actually has any straight line speed now, because he's also driving the Precision Motorsports car, and whether him and Keithley are running the same setup. And it doesn't wow me.
Yeah, it's not exactly. It's not wowing you, is it? It's got a bit more, it would seem, but he's not much faster. Although he is outpacing Keithley, which isn't something that you can say usually.
No. Or ever. Calamy's dropped way down P9. Did he pit? I believe he came to the pits. So he dropped way down to P9. Let me just check out here. No. 27.0. Maybe he didn't pit.
One thing that I've just had pointed out to me is that the brakes can fail later in the race if you're in the draft more during the race, because that means you'll be going so much faster into these corners than you'd expected. So if you're always following and battling another car, it's really going to affect your brake wear. And we could see a few guys brakes failing going to the end of this race. It's not the same as World Trophy, where usually we only have about 10 finishes. It's a bit better than that usually in the World Series. They're a bit more experienced. But we could see some pretty high attrition rates come the end of this race, possibly about 15 or perhaps even 11, 12 finishes.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. I mean, you're going to be braking so much harder into the corners by being in the draft trying to force a move. It's just going to, unfortunately, wreck the brakes and even the tyres as well to an extent. So watch out for that. Not so much now, but towards the end of the race, SimRacing pits for new tyres then. So currently was third into the pit lane, and he's been going fairly quickly as well. But obviously feels it's time to get some new tyres on that car.
Van Starkenberg. Van Starkenberg's going to try and sweep around the outside into turn number 1. He forces the issue. Fantastic pass from Rob Van Starkenberg. We've seen him do that so many times. Now surely Simoncic is going to pick up the slipstream into the second chicane and try and get him back. Can Van Starkenberg go defensive? He's taking his normal line, it seems, for the Cover Grande. Now he goes defensive.
Brave pass.
A little dummy.
Brave on the cold tyres. I'm not sure about that one. I think he thought twice about that one. You know, you're in second place technically in the race right now. Not sure I'll be trying to make that pass straight away. He doesn't really need to. He's got the new tyres. Yeah, Calamy's fans, I apologise for offending your driver. He did pit. He didn't make a mistake. So all is well in the Calamy's camp. He is currently in P8, but obviously when the pit stops fix themselves, he'll be back up there again. When will Pushka pit? That's the question. He comes in right now. Good time in there, and let's see whether that, it looks gentle into the pits, but he doesn't really need it to be too fast.
This is going to be really close, I think, between Pushka and Drivlar, which is a really key battle, really. He's about 19 seconds off him, so this is really key for Pushka to come out in front of Drivlar, and that will be the two-stop strategy destroyed if he can come out in front. So it's really important for him to do that.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. Here comes Dilver up to speed. Can he do it? He has to do it, but no, he's not going to manage to do it. Dilver, surely that's race win gone now. Even if he would have done it, he would have had to hold Pushka up for the entire race.
However, look who's just behind though. Rob Van Starkenberg is now in P3, and
wow.
That's impressive. I think that's if Rob Van Starkenberg can continue finding speed, he might even be faster, I think, than Philip Pushka on 2 stops, and Philip Pushka is on 3 stops. And if that's the case, then that's very impressive. You have to wonder what he would have done in the front of the race.
Yeah, Michael Francesconi is out of the race. That's a shame for him. I believe it was an accident he had. We didn't quite get to see that one. Hopefully you did at home. But unfortunately he is out of the race. Dulvar is still right behind Pushka. Van Starkenberg, he's right there. I mean, he's going to make one more stop, but Van Starkenberg is flying right now. I think guys like Calamies really need to be watching their time and scoring, because I think these are the sort of guys that Van Starkenberg's racing today.
I'll tell you, remember you said about Canitz and Keithley? Well, Canitz has caught Keithley now, after he made that mistake. So Keithley clearly not, he doesn't even have the pace for the top 10, it would seem. And we'll see that battle. Oh no, because Canitz has pit.
Ruins James's day. In the process, comes into the pit lane. See if this is a nice stop. Gosby is right behind Simonic now. See, he caught up again. He caught up again. Because last time, he, like I said, he was about 6 seconds behind the leader. Then he was 4 seconds behind the leader. He's now 3.4 seconds behind the leader. And closer to Simonic, who's being held up by this big train of Van Starkenberg and Dulvar. So Gosby and Simonic is going to be under imminent attack unless he can clear Van Starkenberg and Dulvar.
And that's a job.
But the thing is they're not really going that slow. They're hanging on the back of Pushka, who's leading the race. So it's not like he has to clear them right now. They're just all kind of running quite good times, actually. Dulvar and Starkenberg are keeping up with the leaders on the old tyres.
And Van Starkenberg can be very helpful to his teammate Martin Gosby here if he can hold up Simonic. That will be a great job for the team.
And here comes Simonic. Here comes Van Starkenberg on Dulvar. He's not even thinking about holding. Pushka goes deep into the last corner, locks up, no shocks there. Van Starkenberg right behind Dulvar though, and Van Starkenberg decides to go into the pit and ruins my day.
Yeah, I'll be interested in his strategy now from here. I'm really not sure about this because lap 29, I don't know if he can make it on one more stop from here and make it a 3-stop strategy. I'm not sure if Pushka and Simonic are doing 4-stop strategies, which is really unexpected considering how well the tyres work in the World Trophy race. Well, it's really unexpected to be honest.
That's a good point. I would think that Van Starkenberg will have to come in one more time. He comes out right behind him and he does the up and under, and now they're side by side. This is unbelievable. Can he do it? He's got the cold tyres, cold brakes. He's going to try and hold it around the outside of Grand Curb. He pulls back in to get the slipstream. Vecchioni looks defensive, doesn't go defensive. Van Starkenberg backs out on the cold brakes and tyres, and he'll try and get him done a different time.
Intelligent really, because he doesn't have to pass him right now. He doesn't want to ruin his race by trying to dump in a superhero on old tyres, does he? Oh, new tyres even. So he'll just have to hang behind him. And as we've just been told, 4 stops is too slow apparently. But I couldn't imagine. I imagine then that these guys who we thought were going to be doing one less pit stop, I can't imagine it's going to work. Even.
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, we've been wrong before, so I'm sure it will work and win by a mile. But I wouldn't think that this is going to work. Van Starkenberg, I think he's good. He's got, what, 23 laps to go. Split that in 2. That's 11, 12 lap stint a piece. So one more stop should be good.
That's the same strategy as everyone else. It's a 3-stop strategy. I can't imagine they're going to do it. I can't imagine it's going to go the rest of the way, which make it 2 stops.
No, I wouldn't think so. Here he goes on Vecchioni. He passed on the last opportunity. He will not pass on this one. He looks like he has bullet straight line speed. And he squeezes Vecchioni, doesn't want to give it up, but great defensive driving from Van Starkenberg in the end. Gets by. So just running through the order then. 30 laps gone. We have Philip Pushka still leading this race. Only by half a second to Peter Dulvar, but he has to come into the pits. Simonic in P3 is the current P2, we believe, when things cancel each other out. Gosby is 4th right now. Keithley is 5th. Keithley, of course, on the different strategy too. I don't know how he does it, how he's in P5 right now. Answer us on a postcard, please, because all I've seen is him go backwards. But somehow he's in P5 right now. Calamies P6, right behind him. Birdwaller 7th, Starkenberg 8th, Vecchioni 9th, and Stefan Moreau hanging in the top 10 there, sort of on his own, having a nice quiet day. Hoffman P11, Bracken 12, Stefan Canitz P13, Renault Room 14, Gosling and Thomas 15, 16. Matthias Meyer 17th. And that is the current order as it stands, as everybody else is no longer running.
The man who has really impressed me has to be Drivler, because he is kept right at the back of Philip Bushker. He hasn't gone outside a second behind him. Remember, he's done one less stop. So even on the old tyres, Drivler is impressive. In fact,
he almost looked at the inside there for a pass.
He just lost the place on Simicic, or he'd done that before. But
yeah,
still,
well, still that's a good effort though, because these guys have the new tyres and he's hanging right in there. He's not falling back like a stone by any means. Simonic had to make that pass, and he's closed the gap now to, as we see, slow car, Silverline car, I believe, moving out the way, getting way off the racing line. That's some good driving. Simonic, yeah, 1.5 behind Pushka, and it looks like Gosby is, you know, still hanging around there. He hasn't got maybe quite the pace we were hoping for, but don't count him out yet.
You have to wonder if Drivler, because he's going much further than these guys, whether he put in more fuel on the last pit stop in order to change his strategy a little bit. Perhaps.
Yeah, I think if he does that, if he can go a few laps longer and make it to the end with one more stop, he will be technically in third place like everybody else. So
yeah,
you know,
looks like he's showing great adaptability. Is what he's done.
He's backed out of the strategy. I think is you know, kind of what you said. Like he's gone longer basically than we think that he was going to. But yeah, he's still gonna have it tough, because he's gonna at the end of the race have worse equipment than the guys around him, and he's gonna be right in the middle of them. But that doesn't seem to be bothering him right now. So could still be on for a podium there for Precision Motorsports team. And with Keithley in P5.
Keithley's done the same thing, because remember Van Zuckerberg pit at least 4 laps ago now, and these guys are still going. And on the last pit stop, they pitted around the same time. So definitely Precision has made a good call here to perhaps keep their cars out a while longer. And it may result in them having a little bit of an undercut on Pushka on Simicic in the next few laps. So that could be really interesting when they do come in for their pit stop.
Yeah, maybe they knew they didn't have great pace, and they just decided to, you know, damage limitation, go with a different strategy, and really play into the hands of them. That you can tell that they are probably the best team out there right now. They're leading the championship. Of course, you know, when guys make these sort of decisions, that usually means that they know what they're doing, and they definitely give their drivers a good chance here today. We're not exactly sure what pace they would have had if they would have gone the other strategy, but maybe they didn't have the pace to match these guys straight up, so they had to try and do something different.
Gotti is meanwhile really caught up to Peter Drivler. He's only about a second behind him now, and he's catching all the while, so we could see a battle there for P3 quite soon. But as he said, he's yet to pit Peter Drivler, so we'll have to see what he does. We'll have to see, because if Gosby can get up to him, and if he can hold him up, then that could hurt Gosby and help Drivler in the long run.
Yep, with 20 laps remaining now in this race, things have definitely calmed down a little bit now. Hopefully it's the calm before the storm, as Liam Jenkins famously always says. Hopefully that is the case, because I hope to see more overtaking through this great track. I mean, it is one of the best tracks on the calendar. I don't think there's any doubts there. Just because of the history and the design of the track, it's so different to every other circuit that we go to.
Yeah, it's like oval racing, really, essentially, in how you can get passes and then straight away you're vulnerable again to being repassed. That you've got to always be thinking not just about the guy in front of you, but usually about a guy behind as well. So it really increases the driver's awareness. And of course, back in the day when there wasn't chicanes, it really was essentially an oval race, and there was you know, we saw slipstreaming finishes the like of Daytona and Talladega, perhaps in NASCAR or something. And meanwhile, there is battle on the track. It's Ivar Calamies versus Jack Keithley, and look at how much Ivar Calamies pulls up to Keithley down the main straight.
I don't think people have been donating to the fund, because it doesn't seem to have helped. He seems to still be struggling there, Keithley. I think I'd be trying to throw anything out of that car, shoes or something, to try and get rid of some weight. Just give yourself some straight line speed. But yeah, it's unbelievable. Calamies is, he ran a little bit wide there, but he pulls up to him so much down the straight. And but like you said, Keithley's doing a good job though. Let's not get this wrong. We're not taking a stab at Keithley's driving here, because he doesn't have the car, but he's still in a good place. And we'll see whether the strategy works out for him, and he'll still be leading the championship. Even if a meteor hits, he will still be leading the championship after this round, so we can't be too harsh on Jack Keithley.
Yeah, that is true. I think he'll still be leading the championship, to be honest, at the end of the year, unless a meteor actually does hit. But Gosby, meanwhile, has pulled right up, and now he's got Peter Drebler in his sights, and we'll have to see if he can get the run. He might be a little bit too far back out of the parabolica, and he's not actually taking the slipstream, so perhaps that suggests that engine heating issues for Martin Gosby, because he's not taking the slipstream when he could down the main straight.
Yeah, Calamies, didn't want to interrupt you. Calamies up, round the outside, but Keithley, certainly tried to make it hard as possible. Maybe a little bit of frustration showing in there, but Calamies went quite easily round the outside. Keithley made a fight of it, but yeah, like you said, Gosby pulling out, maybe that's people, around about this time in the race, that's when you start doing calculations, the midway point in the race.
Yeah, just re-watching that fight between Calamies and Keithley, you're right, it was quite an incredible fight, as Calamies really tried to squeeze Keithley as they went down into turn 1, into the Rettifilia.
There's a wing on the inside of the track. It's a silver line wing, I believe, on the second Lesmo on the inside. People shouldn't hit it unless they get way out, but I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Who is running without a wing? Not too sure.
Looks like Myers just come into the pits, so oh no, he's still running. That's just some lag on my server.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly who that is, but it's way off the racing line, so it shouldn't affect him too much. Further down the field, guys pretty spread out, really. I mean, there is a good fight going on here, actually. 12, 13, 14.
Gosby, that is a good fight.
Yeah, he is catching up to Peter Dulvar. Doesn't quite get the job done this lap, but maybe he will do into the second chicane. We'll come back to that 12, 13, 14 battle in a minute. Obviously, this one takes precedence.
Yeah, I was going to say he hasn't caught him up. He's not catching him up. He's caught him because Martin Gosby is looking really hard on Peter Drebler. It looks like Drebler has adapted his strategy because he's still not coming to the pit, and so this could be a genius move that's perhaps netted him a podium. As Gosby can pass him now, because of course once they do all pit, we'll have the same tyres, if not newer tyres for a few laps from this guy.
Yeah, I would expect him to come into the pit sometime soon, because he has gone quite a long time on this. I'm not sure exactly how long he's gone on this strategy. See if we can work it out.
Well, those guys all pitted, and he pitted about 5-6 laps later, and it looks like he must have just waited a bit on the fuel, got a bit more fuel, and now he's on the same strategy as these guys, and it really worked out for him. Meanwhile, Simončić is actually catching Philip Puška at about a tenth of a second per lap. Not sure how important that is, but well, just keep an eye on it. As Puška makes contact with a lap car, and see who that was. A silver lap car.
Dulvar into the pits. He did 18 laps on that stint. Incredible. So he should be good to go to the end then if he can do 18 laps again. You'll have to probably preserve the tyres a little bit more than the other guys because they're going to come in a couple laps. But yeah, he's found himself somehow still in there with a fight. So good driving from him. He has had decent pace all day. Keithley currently in P10, so he must have pitted too. And Verdmuller in the pits, is he? Yeah, in the pits. The Precision Motorsports guys all deciding to pit around about the same time. That moves Hoffman up to P10.
He's certainly shown that he can save the tyres though, hasn't he? So I wouldn't put it past him to get a podium today. We can make some new laps on these, make some fast laps on these new tyres even, and manage to stay ahead of Gosby, or even jump Simončić if he was really being ambitious.
Simončić still 1.4 behind Puška, catching slightly. This must be so frustrating. I've been in a situation before where you can see the leader. He's right there in that bright red car. You just can't seem to close up, and that's going to be very frustrating if that's the case at the end of the race.
Morales is going to go to the inside of Drivlar into the Scary chicane, and he's got the car
side by side.
He's got it done, and that's going to be a real pain for Drivlar because he's not really racing well. Morales is actually, he's behind him one pit stop, so this really isn't good for Peter Drivlar. He's got to get past him again as fast as possible. But you've got to admire the man.
Yeah, the AutoGP team won't mind too much. I don't think everybody else, but he's fallen off the back of Ruel pretty quick. Maybe he's just struggling to get those tyres up to temperature. Sometimes you can find that if you just if you're going long on the stints, you have to look after them the first couple laps to keep the core temperature down. And that's maybe what he's doing. I'm not quite sure on that one. Simonic lost a little bit of time to Pushka that lap. Sorry.
Just an update on Martin Gosby. We said early he was ducking out of the slipstream. We said it was perhaps to save the engine. In fact, it is to save the brakes. That's why he's ducking out the slipstream. So look out for brake problems for Martin Gosby perhaps later in the race.
Yeah, we've already seen the Matt Corp team get caught out. It is a very tough track on brakes. This Montreal, Valencia, there is quite a few of them, but this is one of them because you're going so fast or so slow with so little wing, as we described earlier. Gosby, not really, Simonic, sorry, took 2/10 out of Pushka this lap. So he is closing in a little bit. Maybe he does fancy a go at the win. Gosby not really able to do too much. He's racing Peter Duval though, who is still behind Rouault, and he's falling back from him. He's now going to be under attack from Vecchione.
He's got to get his tyres up to temperature soon because this is really costing him. However, having said that, we've only got to assume that Martin Gosby will suffer the same problems.
Yep, exactly. Unless the Precision Motorsports team... Oh yeah, Calamy's into the pit lane. See where he comes out. He's going to feed in. Because he's a bit... Trying to figure out where Calamy's is in this race is not easy. As we see Vecchione up the inside of Dulavar. He gets it done. Dulavar goes backwards. So Dulavar's ahead of Calamy's, but that's it. I'm pretty sure Gosby's going to get them both.
That's really not worked out for Peter Dravler. And what's really been key is he hasn't got his tyres up to temperature fast enough. That's what. Perhaps he put on a harder compound, knowing he would have to go further to get to the end of the race, and perhaps that's why he hasn't been able to get it up to temperature. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, the thing is though, is he managed to do it last 10. He managed to do 18 laps, so I would assume he went with the same tyres. That's tough though. Like you said, maybe Precision Motorsports are just having problems getting the heat in the tyres. We saw Keithley fall back early on, and maybe they just come a bit more alive later on. As Calamy's is, I reckon he'll catch up Dulavar pretty quickly. Not sure exactly. I think these guys are racing 4th, 5th, 6th. Dulavar, Calamy's, Keithley, but Vecchione's in there too, so he could beat them.
Well, we got Simonic in the pits from second position. This is a really key pit stop. Looked like his car was a bit skewy in the pit stall, and he's holding it for quite long, but still managed to do it reasonably fast. And now he's out the pits. We'll see where he comes out in relation to everyone else.
Is he going to come out in traffic? That's the question. He might do.
Past him.
Yeah, but teammate got out of the way there. That was actually quite nice of Go Speed Racing to allow him to do that. But Van Starkenburg came out ahead of Simonic. That's interesting. Van Starkenburg, of course, has to pit again, but that's still a great effort from the back of the grid.
We should have to pit again. He might have taken a lot of fuel on this pit stop and be trying to 20 that final stint, which would be very ambitious, but I mean, anything's possible we've seen so far in this race.
We've seen so far in this series, everything's possible. Just seems to be every single day we see something that amazes us. Renault Room is in the pits. Let's go back to that battle that was going on before. We've got Gosling is 15th right now. It's all kind of petered out with the strategy. The only real fight is Brackham Werdmuller. And then, yeah, Rouault is behind these two, so there is a fight going on. Vecchione did pit. He's down to P13.
Pushka's in the pits. This is really key because Van Starkenburg got out in front of Simonic, and Simonic was only 1.4 seconds behind Pushka when he made his pit stop. So Pushka needs to try and come out in front of Van Starkenburg if he can. Gosby comes into the pits as well. He split into his pits. So
Van Starkenburg pitted. Van Starkenburg's decided to pit, so that's great news for Pushka. Surely he's going to come out, yeah, clear air. That's worked out beautifully for Philip Pushka. It looks like he's pulled away time a little bit from Simonic too.
Well, that's unexpected from Van Starkenburg. That was a very short stint from him, actually. So perhaps he decided it just wasn't going to work, just wasn't going to get to the end on those tyres, or perhaps he just needs a splash of fuel. And so that will be his final pit stop surely, and we'll see where he comes out. He's in 7th place, and he's being challenged there by Canet, it looks like. So that's a real shame from Van Starkenberg. If he could have stretched the fuel, he might have been on for a podium place. But that's a real shame. And looks like I'm the only commentator left. The last man standing. The microphone problems for Matt Hartley, but he should be back momentarily. Just taking a look at Philip Pushka then, out in front, and he's actually stretched the gap over his post stops. As I was saying, actually, earlier in the commentary, in the World Trophy race, and it seems in this race too, the undercut is just non-existent. Because Pushka pitted at least 2 laps later, or a whole lap later than Simonic, and actually it's cost him Simonic time, rather than gained him time to pit earlier. So the really key strategy perhaps to watch out for tomorrow is that the undercut doesn't work. It's actually faster to remain on the track as long as possible until you absolutely need to pit, because getting out on the cold tyres actually doesn't help you, because it actually takes, I think it seems to be taking 2-3 laps for these guys to get these tyres up to temperature and up to working speed, so it's just impossible to undercut anyone. Oh, meanwhile here's a battle on the track, Ivar Kalamis versus Peter Duvla, and Duvla's just going backwards since his pit stop. It's really unfortunate for him. All these guys who were doing one less stop, or we thought were doing one less stop, at least were doing a different strategy, the alternate strategy, have been going very slow in these final stints. And Kalamis is up the inside again, but he can't make it stick this time around. And they've just dropped off the pace, these guys. It's confusing, really, because there hasn't really been a big change. It's not like there's been a massive weather change or anything. Perhaps it's the tyre compound choice they've been forced into. That's the only explanation I could come up with. Perhaps they've been forced to take a harder compound to get to the end, and that means that now they're much further up the pace than they used to be earlier in the race. Kalamis is a big moment out of the Ascari chicane, and that's going to give Peter Duvla a little bit of breathing room, but I'm sure Kalamis will be right back on him again. I'm not sure if Peter Duvla has the same straight line speed problems as we've seen on Jack Keighley, but certainly he's not as fast as Kalamis. And Matt Hartley, latest update on his situation, he's going to be charging his microphone and he'll be back in about 5 minutes. So not only attrition rate for the drivers here on the track, but a high attrition rate for the commentators as well, it would seem. Reino Room, interestingly, was running in the top 10 at the start of the race. He's dropped back. I remember he was being very aggressive and he actually spun, fighting with, I forgot who it was, I think it might have been Cyril Bergmüller. And so Reino Room, interestingly, is right in the back of Maurice Brack, who was also one of those guys who featured heavily in the early running that seems to drop off the pace close to the end. So he's in a battle with him. It's not quite close enough down the main straight here. That's about the most interesting battle on the track that I can find. Having said that, Ivar Kalamis is still all over the back of Peter Duvla, and actually they're coming up in a lap car, Marshall Thomas. Now Marshall Thomas, who we've seen him being in incidents before in the World Trophy race at Montreal, he held up Peter Barlack and actually cost him a race win there, if any of you watched that. So we'll see how well Marshall Thomas gets out of the way, and he gets out of the way very well, which is completely denying everything I just said. But Kalamis is looking strong and he's looking for a good position here. Just give you a rundown of the field. Philip Pushka still leads the race, 2.2 seconds behind. Actually no, let's cut that, because Kalamis has picked up a slipstream from nowhere and he's going to fly down the outside of Peter Duvla, and he's going to take 4th position. Ivar Kalamis moving up a space, and he's going to perhaps set off after Martin Gosby, who's 6 seconds further up the road. Just take a look to see if Duvla can have anything to answer to that into the second chicane, but no, it doesn't appear he can. So that's just befuddling, really, why these precision cars have such low straight line speed today. Because Ivar Kalamis, I was about to start a rundown of the field because I thought everything was going to be calm for a second, but Ivar Kalamis just picked up the slipstream out of nowhere. Because these precision cars seem to be really struggling for straight line speed. Jack Keighley's on an island in his own at the moment. After Van Starkenberg made that unexpected pit stop, I expect there to be a battle between Rob Van Starkenberg and Jack Keighley before the end of this race. Meanwhile, Duvla is managing to keep the slipstream of Ivar Kalamis for now, and actually he's Calamies has a big moment again in the Ascari chicane. That seems to be a real weak point of his, and perhaps Peter Dublar can make a move up into the Parabolica chicane. It would be very impressive if he does. He goes to the inside, but as soon as he pulls out, he just loses speed, and Calamies actually pulls away. So they're faster in the slipstream, but as soon as they pull out that slipstream, they've just got no speed disposition, most sports cars. It's baffling as to why they would set up the car like this. I can only think they were struggling from mechanical drift at this Monza circuit, and so they had no other choice but to set a really high ring level comparative to their opposition. Another close battle on the track is actually Stefan Rath and Cyril Verdmuller. 0.9 seconds separates them. This is for P8, so important points paying positions. And Ruals is very late on the brakes into turn number 1, and it cost him on exit as I thought it would, but he was sliding his all 4 wheels into turn 1, just pushing really hard to try and get past Cyril Verdmuller here. And that's the real 2 battles that we have. We have P4 between Ivar Calamies and Peter Dublar, and P8 between Cyril Verdmuller and Stefan Rual. So a few battles perhaps down to the back of the field between Marcus Hoffman, Canet and Bracken, and also Renault Roux. Greg Gosling is 1 lap down, Marshall Thomas is 2 laps down, and apart from that we have it appears there's been an accident. It appears Renault Roux has had a crash. Indeed, Renault Roux is out of the race. He's lost both of his front wheels. So I wonder if we can get a replay of that. I can't see one because I seem to be having issues with my replay.
No, I have no idea how to get the replay. Sorry.
Thanks for that. So cameraman Tommy Nilsson, who featured in the World Trophy race. Matt,
I am back.
You back?
I apologise for that. Technical problems bewildering me and Liam today. I guess they just don't like English people. You're next, James. Just pre-warning.
I was just saying,
yeah.
We've gotten a bit of a high attrition rate on the track with only 13 runners. Well, 13 runners on the lead lap and 17 guys overall. We've got an even higher attrition rates of the commentators. 2/3 dropping out.
66% failure rate, which is not very good. But I'm back. I will not be denied the end of this Monza Grand Prix. And I'm sure James is doing a great job. Only a few laps remaining now. We're coming close to about 5 or 6 laps remaining. The gap still... Yeah.
Peter Dublar hasn't given up. He got passed by Ivar Calamies, but he hasn't given up, and he's actually stayed on him. And he goes so wide out the first turn, but he kicks up dust. And I'm actually having a few lag issues, I'm afraid. Perhaps this is the start of my my problems. But,
this is the beginning of the end.
Peter Dublar just hasn't given up. He's not quite close enough into the Ascari, but it's really impressive with him. He got passed by Ivar Calamies, and that seems to be it. He said, no more. I'm trying to try and get that place back and finish at least in the top 4.
Yeah, and that would be a great job. I noticed something before too. Will Delaval look up the inside? He looks, doesn't have quite a chance. Calamies sort of chose the middle of the track there. But yeah, I was looking before, and Delaval is very easy on his brakes into the Parabolica. Loses a lot of time on the braking. Normally, traditionally, you see the car behind gain in the braking zone due to the concertina effect, but Delaval does not. And I just wonder whether he's saving his brakes a little bit, and whether that's another issue that this Precision Motorsports team's having. Can you believe they're having issues and they're running 5 and 6? I mean, must be nice.
So something that really came out to me about these precision cars is they can run with these guys in the slipstream. They can stay on Ivar Calamies, but they cannot, as soon as they pull out the slipstream, they just hit a wall, as you said earlier in the race. You just can't make the pass like that. It's really incredible, because they can stay with these guys, they can keep up to them in the draft, they just can't get past. And that's why Peter Dublar, he got passed by Ivar Calamies way back, and now he's just sticking with him, but there's nothing he can do, because as soon as he pulls out the slipstream, he just stops, and in fact, Ivar Calamies pulls away. It's the only way he's going to be able to do it. He makes a very dangerous braking move, perhaps into turn 1. I think we saw Lewis Hamilton do that a few years ago. I believe it was Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah, I think it was Räikkönen. It was a long time ago. But yeah, with Verdmuller, except 5 laps remaining. Verdmuller is no, he's still going. Yeah, no, scaring me there. Verdmuller is still running.
I cut
P9.
his car, he was in the pits. So I was like, well, what is this?
Told you, man. It's the beginning of the commentator's end. So you'll be with just me probably for the end of the race until we lose James. But we'll run down the order right now. Philip Pushka, P1. Haven't talked much about the push today. That's a quick word right there. Sensational. Okay, that's enough. P2 is Simoncic. He's had a solid drive. Pretty much giving up now on P1, I think. Gosby, he's just been there. He got held up at the start behind the Keithley train and lost ground to the other guys. Calamy's P4, Dulevar P5. These guys still fighting it out. Dulevar is all over him. Calamy's makes a little mistake and Dulevar catches him right back up again. Keithley 6, Van Starkenberg 7. Obuto GP driver Stefan Moreau having a decent race in P8. Birdmuller is back to P9 and Vecchione rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, I think my driver of the day would have been Rob Van Starkenberg if he hadn't had to make that final pit stop, because that's what really cost him. I think if he could have made a clever call like actually Peter Dovlar did and fueled his car about 5 to 10, well, he fueled his car about 5 to 10 laps more than he did previous time, it should have really cost him in the short run, but I think he might have been on for a top 3 or 4 position if he managed to do that.
Yeah, he's had the pace, definitely had more pace than Keithley, who is in P6. Like I say, Dulevar gets right behind Calamy's, and he's going to look around the outside here. This is going to be an optimistic pass, and he's trying to line him up into Lesmo, but that's the thing, Dulevar's going to have to pass him somewhere like around this section, not around the straights, and it's going to be a pretty difficult pass to make. Only a few laps remaining, though, and you know, he might be able to hold him up to the line if he can get by and have the lead going into the final corner. So I have to keep an eye on this fight. This is pretty much the closest fight out there right now. There is another fight going on between Stefan Knitz and Marcus Hoffman, P11 and P12. Knitz having a good drive for AT Racing, and he hasn't been in for the last couple of rounds. I'm not sure if it's his first race, but having a great drive nonetheless. P12, if he can just get a couple more places, then he'll get more than the minimum points.
I think this battle between Dovlar and Calamy's is going to run to the end. Well, having said that, Calamy's has just put a little bit of a gap. But what's really key for Dovlar is he's got to stay in the situation as long as possible, because he's much better on the brakes, as we just saw actually. We just saw him close about 10 metres on the brakes. He's much better on the brakes than I by Calamy's. What he's really got to do is stay in the slipstream until as late as possible, and then pull out perhaps in the braking zone. It's like all he can do in order to pass Ivar Calamy's, because if he tries to sail along down the outside or down the inside in the straights, it just won't happen, because as soon as he pulls out, he hits that brick wall.
Yep, and I don't see how he's going to make the pass in enough time. For me, Calamy's is much quicker right now. He just seems to be making mistakes. I'm not sure it's because he's trying to save his brakes, because Dulevar did close a massive amount, half the country size of Russia he closed last time under braking, so I'm not really too sure whether Calamy's is trying to save his brakes a little bit, and that's why he keeps overshooting some of these corners. Dulevar is great through this Ascari chicane. He just rides the curves beautifully through there, so he is pushing, he is trying hard. As we go to, I believe, 3 laps remaining now. Philip Pushka surely going to take his win that he should have took last round from Simonic. We haven't spoke much about him, but Simonic is 4 tenths behind him. Pushka with problems? No, surely not. He's going really slowly. Simonic has caught right up to him. Pushka's gone through the chicane. Pushka's brakes, I think, have gone.
It's got to be brakes.
No, not again for the push. The push now. 2 weeks in a row this has happened. Last time it was at Spa in the pit lane, and Simonic now, he doesn't even have to try a pass. He knows that Pushka is not going to be able to make these corners. Although with that one, actually, he did quite well. But, I mean, surely it's just a matter of time if it is brakes before Simonic takes the lead of this race. Unbelievable luck again for Philip Pushka. As we still look, I mean, if he can hold this out, this will be race drive of the season with no brakes. I know Monza's not a braking track, but still.
Having said that, we've been told that perhaps Simonic and Gosby are also suffering from brake issues. So, Calamy's anyone?
I think he'd be a good bet right now. Simonic, he has to try and pass Pushka, but then make his brakes last the end of the race. Is that what you're telling me? And who says that motor racing is not exciting? This is ridiculous. As Gosby now, he's been running on his own the whole race, but he's 2.8 now behind the leaders. He's catching up because he's been saving his brakes.
No, we saw him, didn't we? We saw him pull out the draft. We're seeing somebody pull out the draft to Pushkin now. So clearly all these top three are having brake issues. Perhaps that is the price they've paid for running top three all day. And well, let's say this, because this is suddenly out of nowhere. We've got a grand
Pushkin again! That's twice! At what point? At what point does that become a penalty? That's what I'm going to ask you, James. That's twice now in a row that he's done that, and you know, if he does it a third time in a row, I'm pretty sure the stewards will be giving him a penalty at the end of the race. You cannot do that, even if you don't have brakes. Not twice in a row, because you know you made the mistake the first time. Okay, fair enough, but second time you'd be in trouble. And Gosby is right there. He's catching up. You can see two big lots of smoke ahead of him as they try and slow the cars down. Simonic isn't even trying to make a pass on Pushka. His brakes must be completely shot too.
Simonic then is just staying in the slipstream for now. Maybe into the scoring. He's got to do is pressure Pushka. He's just got to pressure Pushka into a mistake.
Pushka runs wide again. It's funny because the cameraman had a great suggestion actually. Tommy Nilsson, as we know, a great driver. He said that maybe he's trying to protect Pushka's championship charge and deliberately not passing Philip Pushka here. That is just crazy to hear that at this point of the season. Well, here comes Gosby. He's not going to have any choice. He's going to have to pass Pushka, otherwise they're going to lose this race to go speed. As Simonic knows this, and that's it.
Be it. Yeah.
That's the end of the race. But Pushka held on.
It completely crept up on us, and Simonic did let him win. But Gosby was right on.
Wow.
If there'd been one more lap, Gosby would have won that race, in my opinion.
Wow.
But the end of the race just crept up on us. I thought there was one more lap. This scoreboard does confuse me a little bit in our factor. But yeah, I think one more lap and Gosby would have had that, and I think two more laps and Calamies would have had it, to be honest.
I wanted another lap. I'm disappointed. That was... I don't even know where to begin. Philip Pushka wins the race, but a gift from Simonic. I mean, are you serious? He gives Pushka the win. I know Go Speed is trying to help the championship charge, but I'm not sure that they'll be able to catch Keithley. At the end of the year, if they beat Keithley, it looks great, but if it doesn't, Simonic, I mean, the win was right there. He's thanking Simonic right now because it looked pretty obvious at the end. We just caught onto it, what he was doing. He was protecting it from Gosby, who almost won the race. The push wins the Monza Grand Prix somehow, sort of, with a gift.
Yeah, he won, of course, in China. He was denied in Spa, but he's got the win at Monza. So it was just a Grand Slam finish out of nowhere, and he caught us so much off guard that we actually missed the end of the race.
Peter Dulabar, finished just behind Calamies. I thought he got him. Keithley finishes 6th. Rand Starkenberg 7th. Stefan Ruel P8. Cyril Verdmuller ends 9th. Vecchioni 10th. Hoffman is P11. Stefan Knitz was 12th. Maurice Bracken for Netrex was in P13. These guys were a lap down. Fred Gosling 14th. Martial Thomas was 15th. And he was the last guy of the runners because Reino Room, Matthias Meyer, Michael Francesconi, Ivan Hinchu, Henry Verk, Pedro Milliam, Alban Desley, Roman Ivanov all did not finish the race. I don't even know where to begin.
Jack Keithley, as I thought, was not happy with Martin Gosby because after the race, I saw Jack Keithley just pull up on Martin Gosby and he was shoving his car as if to say, "Why did you do that?" And apparently, Martin Gosby went across the sleeping policeman as yellow and black anti-cut strips, and he hit him. And Gosby, and that possibly explains why Keithley was so slow. Yeah, he said it cost him big time. It damaged his car. So perhaps
possibly, yeah, that might have been the reason why. That will the race will continue on, I guess, and the stewards will have to sort that one out and see what happened, whether Gosby will keep hold of his podium place or not. Calamies P4 GT Omega, but Go Speed Racing 1 and 2, definitely how they planned it. Let's not make any mistakes here that was on purpose, that order. Simonic was only a tenth behind Pushka, but really he could have been about 80 seconds behind him because he was never going to finish ahead of him because Simonic gifted the win. I mean, what do you think of that?
Well, I mean, it's great team play from Simonic. I must say that, and if he wants to keep his seat at go speed, that's the way to do it. That's going to help the team bosses a lot. I mean, personally, I'm not sure if that's what I would do, unless it was a real championship battle, which I don't think this is. I think Keeper's got it unless he gets struck by lightning. So
the lightning might be coming, but not yet. There's not too many rounds left, but yeah,
exactly.
I agree. I think that when I saw Gosby catching up from behind, I might have, if I was Simonic, I might have took the win there and just been, at the end of the day, you could have said that it's because Gosby's close and they didn't want to lose the win for the team, so you could have made up some excuse and took the win.
I'm like you. I wanted one more lap. I mean, watching NASCAR, they do green, white, checkered finishes. Couldn't we have one of them? Because
yeah, we need big flashing lights next time because I missed the end of this one.
Yeah. This scoreboard confuses me. It shows 53 laps completed rather than 50, it's on 53 laps. So that's what confused us. But
so unbelievable, really. In the end, driver of the day. You know what?
I'm not sure.
I'm not even handing one out. I refuse. I'll hand out 2 next time. I can't give it Pushka because he was gifted the win. Can't give it Simonic because what was he doing? He gave away the win. Gosby didn't win. Calamies didn't really. I don't know where Calamies was the whole race. And the 2 precision drivers were slower than a rock. So tough to say. I can't really give one out. I have to say. We'll get back next time.
I would say Rob van Starkenburg did a fantastic job from the back of the grid. I think he could have done better. I think he could have perhaps gone a little bit further in those final stints and made up some time, had some fresher tyres, and perhaps got a top 5 finish or even a top 4 finish if he'd been lucky and managed to get past Duvlar as well. So I'd have to say Rob van Starkenburg put in the best drive today. And Simonic, yeah, he should have gone for the win in this situation. I mean,
yeah, I think all race he was kind of his rear gunner, so I'm not sure he's gonna win driver of the day. But yeah, that's all from us from Monza. Pushka gets second win of the season. It just unbelievable fashion. We'll be watching that one on the highlights. Even the commentators didn't know the race has ended, but this broadcast has ended. I am Matt Hartley. Alongside me, James Tucker, and in and out of the room today was Liam Jenkins. Cameras by Tommy Nilsson. We would like to say thank you for watching. Join us next time for the Formula 1 SimRacing World Series race.
Just a quick note to remember to watch the World Championship tomorrow. Sure that's probably at 14 o'clock GMT. That should be a great race, and if you missed last week's race, I believe, at Spa, then check that out on YouTube as well. Indeed, thanks for commentating with me, Matt, and Liam as well. It's a real shame we had him lost again in the commentary. That happened in Valencia as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.